Good morning and welcome to Doppler's Gear Garage. Today we're focusing on how to play with more confidence. And that's something I think all players are always working on, because the more confident we feel when we pick up the instrument, the better we play. And we play better when we feel more confident about the instrument. And what I wanted to do, Brenton, good morning, my friend. Pleasure to see you. And, you know, one of the things that I've been doing as of late, besides working on some crazy rigonometry, is really trying to fine-tune some things about my playing. And one of the things that happens in the process of doing that fine-tuning is you find your areas of weakness. If you target them, they become stronger, and so you feel more confident as a player. But just overall, I really wanted to kind of see if I couldn't, and with a little bit of a free-form approach, touch on the things that I think are important for becoming a more confident player. Interestingly enough, you know, over the years as a teacher, you kind of come up with a range of things. Terry, good morning to you, my friend. Hello, 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 hello. Adam, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us and saying hello. You know, I think, you know, if we're really brutally honest, I think one of the things that happens, if you look at, you know, the human condition of kind of, you have these periods of time where you have exceeding amounts of joy and exceeding amounts of sorrow. As guitar players, it's not surprising that our guitar playing life has its own similar set of ebbs and flows. So the idea is when we're practiced up, or more importantly, when we've leveled up to where we want to be in here and in here, then when we actually pick up the instrument, there's a confidence that happens. I would say if there's one place that I've really been working the most as of late, it's been the right hand. And it's been, you know, it's been one of the interesting things, because traditionally, when I think about playing and practicing, I think about synchronization of the left hand and the right hand together. And last week we were talking about the idea of this G major 3-note per string speed exercise, and we will invariably work on this a little bit. But the idea is taking, in this particular case, the G major scale, and just doing it in groups of 3 notes. And it's a great, again, just as a bit of a recap, it's a great synchronization exercise to just get the left hand and the right hand going, whether it's slow or fast. And I'm going to turn the delay off for a moment and get to my right window here. There we go. And within that synchronization of note, the other thing about this whole little sequence of notes here is you can play it rather than with an eighth note or, hey, Mike Rand, good morning to you, my good friend. Rather than just kind of as a triplet, you feel, one E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. So there's all sorts of, again, that's things that you can do there to do that. But ultimately, if the right hand on its own isn't doing its thing, that's going to get in the way of that. Melissa Doppler, have you got your guitar out there, honey? All right, Steve, good morning, my dear friend. So, all right. So first of all, just the pure mechanics of this, I would suggest doing some exercises where you're just literally getting You're just getting used to subdividing the beat by two. That is eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and eighth note triplets, 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3, and that will just kind of get you used to. Hey, good morning, Eric. Great to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Just get you used to just doing this. And this is the sort of thing that is great couch work. And the other thing that I would strongly suggest doing is doing that on each string. One of the things that I've been working on a lot, and this, as I said at the top of the broadcast, I have some ordered steps, but the other thing is I want to zig and zag a little bit because in a sense, this confidence building process, sometimes there are some sideways steps that we take in the midst of moving up or down, if you will, the progress / confidence ladder. But the idea of taking those bottom three notes and playing across those, that's basically an A major arpeggio on the bottom three strings, what I'm going to call basically a three-note splay, a two-note splay, and another two-note splay. So that is to say I'm playing A, C sharp, and E, A, C sharp, and E, and A, C sharp, and E, three different ways. But what it gets you used to doing as you toggle between those guys is you're getting down, up, down, down, up. Hold on, down, up, 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 down, up. So as you're crossing, you got a down, up, down, and then there's an up, down, up, and this is down, up, down, up, down, up. So as you're crossing across the low E string and the A string, you're going to be flipping around, I should say, as you're crossing from the A string back to the low E string, you're going to do it in a couple of different ways. In the bottom string, is actually a really groovy string, but part of that is, and I actually have a guy to thank named Bernth, B-E-R-N-T-H. He is one of the most prolific content creators on the planet. And you might have noticed that he was on tour with Ola Englund in Europe. They were touring together, but not in the same outfit. But he also has a bunch of great resources online, including a Spotify training course, amongst all other things. But the point being is he really actually is responsible for me changing after a number of years. I personally believe that the sweetest spot for picking is right in that area. However, if you listen to the sound on the low E string, same amount of force, but like about a third as much noise. So when you're that versus hear all that. So I've kind of taken myself to task to learn to play here. Now the interesting thing, we've talked a little bit about string tension and whatnot. And a moment ago I started talking about the idea, and then I didn't finish it. I jumped over to this idea of kind of working this exercise. I've gotten a little pitchy. I'll fix that in a minute. But the idea of this quarter eighth note, or I should say quarter note eighth note, eighth note triplet. And by default, I would suggest doing that for a measure each, as in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Turn myself down a little bit. But the idea, each one of these strings has a different string tension and will feel different underneath the pick. So getting a chance to live at each one of those strings and getting a really great chance to feel that tension is a really big deal. I have a student, David Lewis, who, if I did the math, has probably been with me for about 10 years. He's a lovely guy, but one of the things that we talked about in one of his lessons, I think I might have mentioned last week, is really as you're playing and you feel that right hand, you can actually feel that connection that we're going down, up, 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 and really feeling each one of those pick strokes. And a good way to actually zero in on doing that, let's see, do me a favor, put your fourth finger at the 5th fret on the 6th string, 3rd finger at the 4th fret on the 5th string, and your 1st finger at the 2nd fret on the 4th string. That is to say 4th, 3rd, and 1st fingers at the 5th, 4th, and 2nd frets on the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings. And close your eyes and go, you can start off with a low E string, the A string, D string, repeat the D string and come back to the A string and just loop that. I should say, sorry, go string number 6, 5, 4, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 4, 5, 6. And the great thing about having your eyes closed as you do that, you can really feel the right hand because you're not focused as much as what we're looking at. And as guitar players, majority of has a tendency to be visually, if you, as a learning method, have visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Most guitar players, the primary modality of learning is visual, which means if your eyes are open, your brain is thinking about visual things, whether it's looking at the neck, looking at it's a camera, but it's a video camera. But the idea is we get distracted versus like, and that really allows us to just zero in on the tactile sense of feeling what that pick stroke feels like underneath the fingers. Most importantly, really feeling where you've got your downstrokes and where you've got your upstrokes. And gosh darn it, it actually makes a difference because as you begin to speed it up, that sense of connection still follows through. So hang on just 1 second. All right. Tony, good morning. Great to see you. Pleasure as always. Hey. Kirsten, hello. Great to see you. Are you guys in Nashville? No, where are you guys located? Always a pleasure. Give Dylan my love. Braden, good morning. I still have you on my to-do list of that track. My apologies. Sayaru, nice to see you again. Thank you very much. I hopefully will play something beautiful at some point. And happy Thanksgiving in Canada to you, my friend. Okay, so the deal is this right hand thing, as I've really been working on my own playing, one of the other things that I've been doing, and this is if you're looking for a ball busting exercise to get your right hand into obedience, this is it. So basically, that's the ball buster for me. So that basically I'm playing quarter notes, eighth notes, eighth note triplets, 16th notes. Then the next shape, quarter notes, eighth notes, eighth note triplets, 16th notes. Let me get my 16th notes again. Quarters, eighths, eighth note triplets, 16th notes. And I am admittedly in process on this one, but this one is so important. So again, what we're doing is we're taking this splay and it's getting us used to changing across the strings. If we go single notes, it's down, up, down, up, down, up. As eighth notes, that was quarter notes, basically down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. As eighth notes triplets, it's down, up, 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 down, up. And that last little down, up, down, up is the one that is for me a little bit of a trouble spot. And then the 16th notes is down, up, 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 down, up. Then when we get to these two strings, down, up, down, up, down. And again, that down to up on the 5th to the 6th string is one of the spots that I'm having just a little bit of a having to work on that, but that's why we do this. And then this one is down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Then again, this triplety guy, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Down, up, 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 down, up. And I have to be really mindful, and this is where this whole little bit of going, closing your eyes, and that little upstroke right there, actually I have to play like that note right there. That's my nemesis. So sometimes just taking that, and And that's just going from the C sharp there with the first finger on the fifth string to that A on the low E string with the second finger. There we go. Then, so 2 ways to do that. And then get the motion. Especially when you get back to... So most of the stuff, once you kind of get the muscle memory going, it begins to pick up. Then this guy... oh, come on. I'll slow it down. Nothing like a little bit of humility in the morning. Finally. All right, so the idea is that I just sit there and I work that and I use what I call ramp-ups. And, you know, I made a choice this morning. I was like, okay, you know, I'm okay with playing things imperfectly. I start off at 80 BPM, and I just basically work those guys. And it's literally... Here are the eighth notes. Eighth note triplets. 16th notes. And so in another month, I will be able to play that at 160 flawlessly and all those tempos in between. Right now, I can't. But what it's allowing me to do is take the what I call spillover effect, which is the ability and begin to apply that to other things that I might play. But the bottom three strings, again, that low E string's pokey to begin with. And it's just... There's another thing that begins to happen, is at a certain point you get enough inertia where there's a point where you go from pushing the pick, if you will, to... That is to say, I can go... with a relative amount of ease, because the pick at that point has got this... But again, the idea is to work across those different string transitions. So let me just check in on the chat here real quick. Okay. Okay. Hang on a second. Holy cow, look at all the comments. Good morning. All right, hang on just 1 second. Oh, please do share that. Thank you very much. Good morning, my friend. Good to see you. Gosh darn it. There you go. Hello, hello, hello. Love that. Okay. Okay, Paul, if I didn't catch you, good morning. Fall colors in the room, right? The fall oranges. Okay. And are you new here? Do I recognize that? Get Armijo 78. Hello, hello, hello. If you're new, welcome, welcome, welcome. And anybody else, if you're new here to all this extravaganza, feel free to, first of all, say hello, introduce yourself, where you're coming from. As a matter of fact, this is always a great opportunity to do something that we like to do around here, which is, gosh darn it, raise them up. My name is Doug. In case we haven't met, I'm coming to you from sunny California, and I'm drinking my Pete's Espresso with some muscle milk. Ooh. To build better chops. Let me know where it is in the chat where you're coming from. All right. My laptop display goes, need adjustment. It's so orange. That's so funny. A quick aside is getting colors right when you're shooting with video is a whole other ordeal. Different conversation for a different day. So I'm going to take a little left turn there, Mr. Mike Rand. Because, again, what I said at the top of this was that we're going to have some ordered steps. And again, the idea, 3, 4. And if you want to, That's a great way to actually translate that pick stuff into notes. So that'd say I was going G, A, B, A as my 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and G, A, B, A, G, A, B, A as in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then G, A, B, B, A, G, G, A, B, B, A, G as my 8-note triplets. And, you know, the short version is for the triplets, we're doubling the top note, where the 8th notes, I should say the 8th note triplets, we're doubling the top note, where on the 8th notes, we're not. That is to say, 8th notes are just kind of, we go up and back between those 4 notes. For the 8th note triplets, oh, we double the top note and the bottom note. So that is to say, for the 8th notes, it's just, and for the 8th notes triplets, it's 3 up, 3 down. That was easy for me to say. Okay, like I said, a little bit is going to be ad-libbed, but that's the whole point. So that just gets you used to the idea of just getting that right hand and that would be a great thing to do with the try not to rush. I'm going to go up to 100. 120. 140. If I can get there. So on and so forth. I would generally suggest only going up initially in 5 BPM increments. That way, all those little spots in between your right hand, again, a little earlier we talked about that point, when you're playing slowly, sometimes it's, even if you have a nice relaxed pick motion, there's just a little bit of pushing the pick versus once you get a certain level of inertia going, it's kind of like throwing a baseball when you kind of snap your wrist. Even though I'm not doing a big wound up motion, there is just a certain amount of bounce the wrist begins to get as you're up to that speed. All right. Nice warm look. I appreciate that. All right, and I am so glad. The whole goal here is as follows, is that when you're, quote-unquote, working with a room full of people, the idea is you want to make sure you don't leave anybody at either end of the spectrum behind, because that's not cool. Kevin, what's going on, my man? Great to see you. Hello, hello. There you go. Keep up that vitamin C. You never know, those fall colds are rolling around. That is an offer too good to be true. Riley, good morning, my friend. Hello, hello. Always a pleasure. Tracy, hello, hello, hello. Awesome. Pleasure. You check in anytime. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. All right. Sorry, you probably already mentioned it, Doug, but what is the left hand fretting yet? All right. So first of all, what we started off with at the top of this was talking about the high E string, and I was just playing G, A, and B on that. And that for the 8th notes is G, A, B, A. And you just loop that with an 8-note feel, as in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then when we get to it as 8th note triplets, we go G, A, B, B, A, G. Now as far as this guy, the exercises so let me be really, really clear. I practice things, and I started to call that the exercises the bane of my existence, which it is, which is why I love it. Because I'm specifically running towards that thing that's a brick wall in my playing, going, I'm going to keep running at this thing with my head down, running into it head first, slowly, until I own this thing. And I've been humbled enough this morning, is a good way to say that, to say I'm actually okay playing it with imperfections. First of all, it's good for, for y'all to know that, like, we all have stuff that we're working on, and regardless of whatever it is that you're encountering that's hard, the idea is we actually run at the stuff that's hard and we fix it by starting off slowly, identifying some things. So Tony, this basically is the 4th finger, 3rd finger, and 1st finger across the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings at the 5th, 4th, and 3rd. And that, by the way, of course, is an A major triad, and those notes are A, C sharp, and E. Then we basically take those same first 2 notes, but play them with the 2nd and first finger and add that E. We're going to put it now over on the 5th string at the 7th fret. That is to say, in terms of finger numbers, we're going 2, 1, 4 at the 5th, 4th, and 7th frets on the 6th and 5th strings. Then we take those same 3 notes, but instead of playing the C sharp over here on the 5th string, we're going to move it over here to the 9th fret on the 6th string. So now in terms of fret numbers, we're going, and I'm sorry if I mix the order up, we're going 5th, 9th, and 7th with the 1st, 4th, and 2nd fingers, and that's going to be A, C sharp, and E. So what's neat about this is that it just gets the way what I call the notes play, where we're playing 3 notes across 3 strings, which is one of the things that initially it was the hardest part about this for me. And then what's happening is you're flipping this around every time, so the way the notes are switching back and forth with the alternate picking, it just gets you used to it. And I'm sure, Brenton, if you're still on here, Brent and I had a conversation about there's sometimes you're playing a sequence of some melodic sequence, and you get to a spot and like it just feels really weird with your right hand, where you're kind of like, oh, I'm starting the beginning of the next phrase on an upstroke where I'm used to starting stuff with a downstroke. This is a great exercise to just get used to, like, hey, and what's happened is that as an end result, when I go to play other things, and Mike, I didn't forget about your comment. I'm going to come back to it. As I go to play over stuff and I go to do different things, those little turnarounds where you're starting a sequence maybe on an unexpected upstroke where you would start something with a downstroke, it doesn't feel so backwards because you're used to kind of purposely turning stuff around on the fingers. Albert, good morning, my dear friend. Hello, hello. Thanks again for all those great suggestions. All right. The orange backline. So I do need to tell a little bit of a story about all of this. So one of the things that's happening in the background is I'm getting ready to launch, and I'm super excited about this, something called Amps, Racks, and Rigs. And it's going to be a weekly video series on YouTube. I may take some of that content and bring it over to Instagram. But you're looking at the bones of a, wait for it, wet, wet, dry, wet, wet rig, because, just a wet, dry, wet rig isn't going to do. And over there, just right there, I think you can see the edge of the rack there, I think, is a Fractal Audio Axe FX 3. And this rig has a bunch of really crazy stuff going on in terms of the routing, and also utilizing DI boxes, because what I discovered in the act of building this, and I'm not going to go too far into detail, the effects loop in these orange Rocker 32s here, and the 8030 behind me does not have an effects loop, so I'm kind of taking a tap off the back of that using that little radial box right there that's got a bunch of other stuff. But basically, it's that center amp is dry, and by using the Fractal Audio Axe FX, I'm able to kind of get all the things routed to the appropriate places, but I can also simultaneously take a direct signal based off of that amp, some IRs inside there, as well as delays and reverbs, and send that same thing directly to the DAW front of house. So it's going to be a fun little rig. So thank you for noticing. I purposely left a bit of the mayhem up because it's going to be a really fun little rig. Brighten up. Now, everybody seems to be enjoying the orange. Latte down in Denver. Come on. I'm in Sri Lanka. Awesome. Well, welcome, 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 welcome again. Sayuru, if I pronounce that correctly. Oh, come on. Okay. For Tone Summoners, notice in your inbox. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, right. You're... Forrest. That's Forrest. Got it. Spencer, good morning. You've been missed. Rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated, I'll say. All right, Brenton, do you have days you just can't lock in on the metronome, and how do you fix it? Sometimes locked in. So it's a great question, and I'm going to come back to Mike Rand's great point. So here's the thing. For Griffin Gaines, because he's one of my inspirations, one of the other series I'm going to be launching is recording for newbies. And I actually finally got, after much hoop jumping, I got the For Dummies font loaded on my computer. I actually had to go through all sorts of bizarre things to actually get my computer to load it. But the idea is that it's not for dummies, it's for newbies, people that are new to recording. Like, what's latency and all this crazy stuff. If you were new to recording, could absolutely drive you out of your mind. You could watch hundreds of YouTube videos, get conflicting information, and still be confused. Not a good thing. As it relates to this practice thing, I think to a certain extent, anytime we come up against something that and this is the confidence building part of this that's so important, we come up against something that we're not able to do well. There are a number of people that have a really hard time switching between an eighth note. In fact, I'm sure somebody out there, my guess is, has a hard time switching between eighth notes and eighth note triplets. And I actually created a Guitar Pro file, as in Guitar Pro file, for a couple of my students that were having a hard time, because it's something that I've been used to subdividing rhythms since I was about pint size. However, for other people, as you're new to stuff, it can be really confronting. And more importantly, when you see other people able to do it and you can't, it's really frustrating. So number one, slow. So I don't care what it is, and you kind of watch me embarrass myself, but I enjoy doing it because I know in a month I'm going to be smoking that exercise. And, it's literally, I just sit there, and at 80 BPM, sorry, originally the exercise was like, but I started doubling the top note because it made it a little bit harder. And the idea is that I will take that at 80 BPM, that was a little faster, and I will do each one of those until I can play all four. I'll repeat the middle one as I go from this shape to this shape. I'll go back to that. And I have to be able to play the whole thing, all four variations within the four variations. I have to be able to play them perfectly before I allow myself to move up to the next 5 BPM increment. And there will also be times that I will sit there. The one that's my nemesis is the threes. And I will just loop that part at whatever given tempo, because that allows me to do. The other thing I work on is just this, and you saw me do it before. Oh, sorry, it's going to be different there. So what I'm doing there, sorry, I want this. That guy. That guy. And that's just getting the transition from the fifth string to the sixth string, which is my Achilles heel. However, by practicing it so slowly, hang on, let me go back to 80 BPM. Again, to your excellent points, like there's some days, I can't get to the other rates that I want to, but I can. The goal is not fast, and actually I could say this to everybody. The goal is just to be able to play it at the point that you can play, and it doesn't matter how slow it is. In fact, the great thing about it playing it slowly is you actually hear and feel every single one of those notes. And that way, as you begin to play, what it's done for my connectedness and my synchronicity, just doing that exercise and the string transition, I just can't say enough, because it makes me a much more confident player. And let's see. I know I'm going to get a copyright infringement here, but let's see if we can do this. Let's see if I get into trouble for this. Saying, oh, no, you know what? This is one of my own songs. I can do this. Playing over my song. I may get to a section that doesn't have other guitar there. So that is an integral part of my, and we talked about this last week. I think we called it noodle practice noodling. The idea is you've got some sort of track, so you're actually now working on those different subdivisions against the tempo, but you're also working on specific types of techniques. So I'm really, really busting my chops to get really fluent on pentatonic. Hammer-ons and pull-offs at the place that I can play them really fast. And it's coming along. And that invariably is going to be one of the places we're going to hang our hat in a minute. But it's a big deal to me. So, Benton, that's a really great question. Mike, to your point, an integral part of my daily diet as I come down here in the morning, usually, by the way, and this gets back to a question that Chris asked last week. I've got an Epiphone question there I can see. I have a traditional warm-up exercise that I run through. And it's basically taking, and we talked about this last week, the triad chord relay. For each mode, if you will, started at G. Sorry. So that is I'm going to call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. The other thing is, when I played the diminished triad a minute ago, I had it. It wasn't quite as clear. So you're listening for clarity in each one of these things. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Doppler. Play it right. All right, and the idea is that's for G major. And then G Dorian's going to start at the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I'm not looking. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. I'll take that getting 3, 4. Sorry, I wanted to say this. One of the things that we're going to work on in a little bit is the idea of playing some of the stuff where we're not actually looking at the left hand. And in fact, it's basically going to be when we're playing whole step, using the first and third fingers. When we play a half step, using the first and second. So that is to say, and that kind of allows you to build that connectedness without looking at the instrument. We're also going to do the same thing with the minor pentatonic. Getting back to this, I was at the 3 chord, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. So I'll run that, and if I make a mistake like I did, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 6, 6, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6, 5, I'm on crack. All right, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. I'm not on crack. 1, 7. Sorry, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Holy cow. You get the idea. Let me do that one more time just for pizzing and goes. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Then it goes 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5. You get the idea. What it gets you used to doing, though, is playing each one of the modes. So that was Mixolydian. That's the 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. And then next would be the minor. 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nothing like that. So the idea is I'm setting up the tonality. If I'm seeing short versions, if I played the major scale off of each of its 7 tones, major, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, minor, Locrian, and major, we can think of that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. If we took the first, third, and fifth notes, that's where it comes from. If we start the 6th chord down here, it's going to go 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I played it in right order. fact, I'm going to use that as an example of running through some applied theory here. So the minor scale compared to the major scale, if this is G major, and you can basically, the half steps occur between the third and fourth notes, and the seventh and the octave, if you will. So if you were to practice it with an open string, you could also do the same thing. And the idea of not looking at that is it allows you to just kind of build your skill. Obviously, it's not a perfect process all the time, but you're just getting used to building the tactile sense without looking at the neck. The reason that's so important, especially as a confidence builder, let's pick a wacky key like B flat. We're going to jump back to that other idea in a moment. So I'm kind of playing the neck using the... that same thing we were talking about before, so that's it. Sorry. The more you get used to doing that, you get used to being able to traverse the neck by touch, and that's going to be still that B flat. So you kind of get used to just knowing, first of all, part of it is how far your left arm, you can feel how extended you are, but you also begin to feel that in your fingertips, how far out, and that's where this whole... as you're kind of working through that, the harmonic sequence intervallically and developing your tactile sense around that, you get better at it. You can begin it. Around doing that around pairs of strings. But the idea is that sense of touch is really important. So getting back to this poor exercise that I kind of bastardized, there's my 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6. That's one of the places that I used to build that skill. And it's also a great way to just kind of get the hands warmed up and again begin to think about this. Now, a minute ago I talked about the idea of taking this and taking the major scale. Well, if I think the major scale, that's the octave. So that's a whole step. That's the first. Do me a favor, grab your guitar. You're going to use your first and third fingers for a whole step and your first and seconds for a half step. Basically, the half steps occur, if you think about this, and just use your first finger right now. 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. 1, half to 7, hold a 6, hold a 5, hold a 4, half to 3, hold a 2, hold a 1. That's a really good place to just get started because those, if you will, are your placement notes. And you can just begin to feel that. Now, that said, the idea of doing 2 fingers, you can feel where that finger got placed. And a good place to start if you're new to this is just where that third finger was is where we place our first finger, and then where that third finger was, where we place our first finger. Now we're at the 1, hold a 2, 2, hold a 3, 3 half to 4, 4 hold a 5, 5 hold a 6, 6 hold a 7, 7 half to 1, 1 hold a 2 for the octave. Certainly wouldn't hurt to call out your starting note 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, the next part of this, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, we're going to go 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, where we're taking... So the half steps are between the 2 and the flat 3 and the 5 and the flat 6. Oh, sorry. And the idea is if you can do that without looking, you're just developing that tactile sense. And if you do want to look, Certainly makes it a lot easier, but again, what we're trying to do is develop that sense of connectedness with the fingerboard so we're doing a better job of connecting our ear, our brain, not so much our eyes in this particular case, and our fingers, because those skills are things that we have a tendency not to thread the needle on as much. Let me get caught up here on the comments here real quick. Good. Thank you so much. The Black Mamba guitar. I love this guitar. Thank you very much, my friend. Great to see you. Sonny, good morning. I'm damp, late, but not soggy. Come on. Always a pleasure, my friend. All right, Riley, what's going on? What are my thoughts on the Inspired by Gibson Epiphones with custom buckers and the actual rosewood fretboard and mother of pearl inlay and true open book headstock? I think, well, first of all, I liked the first one of these I had. I bought a second one. So that is to say, I love these guitars. The other thing that's been really cool about this journey is that I am, for many years, I was a Les Paul player, and then I started playing things with Fender Scale and Floyd Roses on them, or more specifically, Ibanez Edges. This guitar, sonically, oh, sorry, I wanted an F sharp. I love this guitar, in case it doesn't show. I think for the money, I think Epiphone is making the best value guitars on the market. Done. So thinking about getting a Maestro Vibrola 64 SG inspired by Gibson, congratulations. I would suggest, if you can, find a music store that's got one in stock and go and play it. That's not saying that, that you can't trust an online retailer, but the thing is that go and make sure. So here's a short left-hand turn. Johnny Bean in Santa Cruz. Hello, my friend. Great to see you. Hey, Rez, what's going on? All right, I'm not going to scroll any further because I want to stay on Focus Fox. This is a Focus Fox. This is not the Metal Fox. This is the Focus Fox. All right. The thing about the 60s necks is that they're a little bit thinner, and where that really happens is when you're doing that sort of hammer on and pull off stuff and you want to bring your thumb and keep it over the top of the neck the entire time versus, oh, that's not hammer on the block. And when you want to do that, well, that's different than being able to keep that thumb around the top of the neck. And the thinner 60s profile compared to the 50s profile, which is a fatter profile, the ability to keep that thumb wrapped around the top of it. And then be able to toggle between the two. The shape of the neck is a really big deal. Also, for the Jimmy chords, guitars that have too big, what I call the shoulder right there, I can't get the thumb around the top of the neck. My thumb is just that little bit too short that that when the shoulder is too big, I just can't get it wrapped around the top of the neck. And as a number of you have heard me rattle on about before, I'm working on a pentatonic course, and there's going to be just a traditional, I should say, using the classical hand position. Oh, sorry. D flat is not the note I was looking for. But the idea of being able to walk through those different patterns using the fourth finger. Oh, sorry, I went to the pinky, or the third finger. And the reason you want to get that pinky involved is because when you need to use it for stuff like that sort of stuff, if you don't have that sort of stuff already kind of dialed, so on and so forth. Slightly digressing, but the shape of the neck really, really matters in terms of some of the things you're able to do. And if you're wanting to be able to get your pentatonic patterns where you're using the first and third fingers, and that is about for what I call the dad fingerings informally, or the old school pentatonic fingers, where you would be inclined to never use, not only not use the pinky, or unless you're doing this sort of thing, but the idea is you've got the thumb wrapped around the top of the neck, and what's happening that's allowing you to go from that bending position straight into your riffage without having to change hand positions. So there, I have to get from by the way, I want to I did something there that I want to throw, again, the goal is, how do you build your guitar confidence? But I'm also going a little left and right. That right there. All right. Now, traditionally, I would have gone, I would have bent out of tune, hopefully. I would have replaced that pinky, I would have gone, before doing that bend, however, so let's say I'm taking that same note, that pinky there, that is an F at the 6th fret on the 2nd string. You would be so kind as to apply your pinky at the 6th fret on the 2nd string, and then replace that note with your third finger, go straight to a bend. There we go. But it's one of the sorts of things that I never would have tried, but now I'm going like, well, I just actually need to get good and be brave enough and practice enough that so I don't have to substitute. Let's say I've got something like I can get from this guy. There we go. That. And not be a chicken and not try it. So those are the sorts of things that I'm trying to do, and I want to encourage you to kind of go, hey, you know what? It's just working on it and developing the muscle memory. So they have Griffin, always a pleasure. Johnny again, hello, hello. Rez, hello, my friend. Great to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Always a pleasure. John, what's up? How you doing? Hello, hello, hello. Sonia, good morning. So everybody, our dear friend Sonia has a pedal called the Fulcrum pedal, and Sonia graced my inbox this morning. Sonia, you are running a special, is that correct? Gosh darn it, the Fulcrum. Hang on, let me get over to my, come on, why are you not going to my appropriate inbox here? Hang on a second. Is that what I want? No, that's not what I want. That's what I want right there. Oh, hang on. Let's see if I can do this. Hang on just one second. There we go. Okay. Sonia is a dear friend. 901 Sound. There we go. And let's see if I can view this in a web browser. View email in browser. Awesome. And then there we go. I'm able to add this comment on YouTube. So there's a link there. So Sonia is running a special on the Fulcrum. Hang on, I can share that. Hold on. Let's see if I can do this without blowing anything up. Come on. There we go. There's the page there. And in any case, that is basically a 1-2 axis expression pedal. And it is going to be making its way into this crazy wet, dry, wet rig here that I'm working on. So, in any case, all right. So, if you've got questions about technique or any of this stuff, hit me up. So, gosh darn it, gosh darn it, gosh darn it. All right. Hang on a second. Let me scroll back up here. A new trem called the Maytrem, Swiss company. Do I know? Yes, I saw. What's his name? EET Psych, whatever his name is with the wild shirts. He did a video on that. Looks very cool. I have not had a chance to check it out yet. I did ponder their website, and I did think about sending them an email, but since I may not be a known character to them, is that easily seen over here? Secondary desktop. Not easily seen. In any case, it looks, basically it's kind of like the Trans Trem, but in a modern build. It's pretty crazy. All right, good. There we go.
Harmonics without a pick. How cool is that? So check this out. Pull up with your index finger. This is on the A string. And you pull up.
Jared, I'll get back to you. Harmonics without a pick. All right. All right, there we go. Let's get back over to the right window. Okay. So this guitar... Switching keys, but... All right, enough digression. All right. Great question. Try and give you a straight answer, yes and no. First and foremost, the Gibson scale is a little bit shorter. So if you have small hands, arguably bending on a Strat could be a harder thing to do. However, because the scale length is longer, if you put the same string on a Strat and a Les Paul as in a 942, the tension is going to be on the Strat a little bit looser, and so as an end result, you'll be able to bend with a little bit more ease because of that. So there are a couple of nuances that, in addition to the fact that on the back of the Strat, you're going to have the springs, and depending on how many springs and how tight that tension is, you're now in turn compensating how much tension it actually is you're gonna have to go against to get that note bent up a whole step, or however far it is that you're going to bend. So the answer is it's not apples and oranges. However, the additional scale length on a Strat generally makes it easier to bend. But then there's another nuance. Generally on Gibson scale instruments, I'm inclined to, in most cases, so long as they do not have a locking fine tuning tremolo, put 10 through 46, which I do on all the Les Paul style guitars. The Strats, I'll put a 9 through 42, as in a .009 through .042 string in terms of the thickness from high E string to low string, versus for this .010 to .046. But for my guitar, and for these guitars, I use a Dunlop heavy core string, where the core of the string is a little thicker. So it means that it plays and feels a little bit more like the next gauge up, which when you go to a 942 on my, no, they're elsewhere out of screen. My main Flying V's, which are my go-to guitars, those are strung up with 9 through 42s. Partially because with the tremolo and the way the guitar is set up, they just kind of want to live there. But I use the heavy core string, so the bottom 3 strings feel more like a 10 gauge in terms of the way they respond, but still have the thickness of the 9 through 42 setup. The other thing is that when I started playing And one of the great things about an exercise like this, a thicker string, when you play, with a thicker string, it has a little bit more girth to deal with. I was a little concerned about kind of how I was going to learn to approach that, but what's been great is I've been going from the Les Paul back to the Flying V, though you don't see me playing it. I've been playing it a bunch, or the two of them. The training that I've been getting to be able to deal with a thicker string has actually made me a much better player when I go back to playing a 9 through 42 set. A little bit of a digression there, but it's a great question. So the other thing that I have a tendency to do, and I almost played it this morning. Too much involved in getting to it. The pink Strat, I keep tuned down a half step, and I've got 10 through 46s on that. Because when I take a Strat, generally Strats, I'd like to keep them at standard tuning 9 through 42, but if I bring them down a half step, I'll automatically go to 10 through 46. I digress. Great question. Going back the first time I was about amps, cabinets, and heads, I was looking at a Marshall 412 greenback cabinet. I'm still not sure what head I should get, but do you think greenback is good? Okay. So, what a great question. So, in this room, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I can see 25 412 cabinets. Now, I'm not necessarily saying to invest in that type of buying strategy, but each one of them has its own nuance. So the amp that you're going to use has a huge amount to do with it. So basically all the boogie cabinets here that are 412 cabinets, with the exception of some of the old halfbackers, they've been released now called a splitback. All the boogie cabinets tend to be loaded with British-made vintage 30s that are specifically done for the folks at Mesa Boogie. Then the other boogie cabinets have something they call a Black Shadow, which is essentially a classic lead 80, which is Joe Bonamassa' go-to speaker. Then there are the greenbacks, and they're probably, if you're looking for the greatest greenback you can buy today, Mojo Tone had some custom-made speakers called a Watchtower. They were made for them by Celestion, and what that is a G12C, which is basically those are in my, Marshall did a Hendrix reissue amp that you've heard me talk about before. It's an incredible amp. So one of the great things about this whole amp racks and rigs series, I'm going to get a chance to pull out a bunch of these amps in different cabinets and get a chance to talk about the speakers as well, because the speaker is a really, really important part of the equation. So to answer your question, I would encourage you to listen to as many different YouTube videos, and people play across different styles. So listen to people that are in the stylistic genres that you're interested in, but also listen to people that aren't. So then you can kind of go, all right, this amp seems to be a great place to live where I want to live stylistically. Then in turn, most amp manufacturers pair not only a cabinet, but a specific speaker choice because of the way that amp is voiced. So it's a great question, and another note to self, and I learned this from a guy named Peter Stapfer, who's one of the gentleman named Peter involved with Diesel. He's one of the two partners, Peter Diesel and Peter Stapfer. And one of the things that he talked about was how integral the cabinet design and the speaker design is into the sound of the amplifier, because they were crafted to work together. Now, there are a number of Mesa Boogie amplifiers that are designed to, many of which are designed to be played through an oversized rectifier cabinet. So there it's kind of a one-size-fits-all. However, where the amps are tuned for certain stylistic things for those specific, that's not to say they only sound great through those cabinets, but if you want to go through that is kind of one of the definitive standard cabinets, as is a cabinet with greenback. So there is a 1960 TV tall vintage cabinet that has got for G12M G12M. Basically the 30 watt, 15 or 16 ohm greenbacks, and they sound great. However, if you wanted to play something a little bit more on the modern side, chances are Vintage 30 is going to be where you don't want to go. They still have a vintagey sort of a sound, but the Vintage 30 has a more present top end. And if you're playing with a loud drummer banging away, hitting cymbals, especially that, and a really loud snare, that little extra bit of definition on the top end and presence, I think, will be important. Great question. Lots of meat on the bone. Thank you for that, because that's going to be... so that is to say, head first. Now I want pictures of biscuit with my breakfast. Always a pleasure, Brett. With the same strings, yes, because the strings are looser on the shorter scale. However, the fret size of the neck shape can play a role. All right, so I find that for me, so the thing is, I find, well, okay, sorry, I forgot to mention the other thing is on the Les Paul, and we've talked about this before, the equivalent of tightening the springs on the back of the Strat or adding more springs is how tight or how far down the stop bar tailpiece is, which increases the string tension. So that in turn makes it harder or less difficult to bend, but it also impacts how much give you got with the string. That influences how loose it is with the left hand, as well as how loose it is with the right hand as well. So there are other factors. Thank you, Steve. I received that. Okay, good. Mike Gervasi, what's going on? My eyes too bright. Okay, I'm seeing orange. Okie dokie. Jimmy, good morning, my dear friend and fellow guitar nerd. Love you dearly. Meow. There we go. All right. Michael, hello. Good morning. The pinky is key. There we go. The pinky is... So, all right. So, before I delve any further and getting on all of this stuff, I want to get back to... Oh, this doesn't sound good. What's happening? Oh. Aha. Give me just a moment. Okay, good. All right, so here's the deal. So a little earlier. I was talking about kind of being able to feel those different scales. So that was major and minor played with two fingers. And the idea is being able to anticipate with the major scale or the minor scale where the half steps are going to be, and using, with the minor scale, or both of them, whenever you had the half step, you would use your first and second fingers. Now with the minor pentatonic, except for a little bit of misfire there. Thank you. Where it's a minor third, you're going to use the first and fourth. Major second, first and third. Now, with that, what I was doing is I was doing foursies, twosies, and onesies. One of my favorite little practice things. So the idea is by sitting at 4, we can feel where that is. We can feel where that is. We can feel where that is. where that is. Now this guy, on the way back down, we're just going to have to feel where that is, knowing that we're going to replace it with the third finger. It's not like that. There we go. Now I'm better with moving the first finger, but that is, say, when I said I'm better at moving the first finger, part of what you want to be able to feel is that first finger, we talked about this before, how far that first finger moves. But when we're doing this thing, we're really trying to get that sensation of minor third is going to be the first and fourth. Major second's first and third. So the idea is I can feel where that upper note is going to be, and that's where my lower finger is going to go to. So as I'm kind of taking that same idea on the way back down, I'm feeling where my first finger is, knowing that where my third finger is going to line up, even though part of what I'm used to doing is knowing how far I need to move my first finger. English. And the idea is by doing it with touch, and I should slow it down, obviously. That way you're developing that sense of being able to hear the interval of the minor thirds and the major seconds, but also associating specific fingers, so you get used to the idea of playing the pentatonic like. And your ability to play the minor pentatonic and have a sense of not just kind of using the set places where we're used to connecting between patterns, but kind of harmonically. Oh, I look sorry. And just kind of get used to hopping around between different spots. The other part is instead of kind of meandering aimlessly, which gets us to another part of this, which is actually playing your notes with intention. So it doesn't matter whether you play solo. So that is that right hand thing. So I think a couple of weeks ago we talked about practicing with your right hand at different dynamic ranges, because first of all, different parts of the neck are going to respond. And the thing about this area of the neck right in here, it's kind of what I call the singing register. So hitting those pretty don't try the open G string if you can avoid it. I'd say my biggest thing that I would suggest for the most guitar players is learning to hit with different velocity. the idea. But that and the same thing goes for playing. Adding that extra pick. Intensity when you're picking fast. Say I'm doing something that's got a little bit less intensity with the left hand. And you want to match that with your right hand, right? But when you want to dig in with that, little extra bit of intensity with the right hand, being able to play with those different dynamic ranges is good, which gets us back to our first exercise of the day. I'm going to bring my volume all the way up. You'll hear it better. Now, when you're playing with a fair amount, again, you're going to hear really more. But when you blend that in with the note, especially when you're with a kind of a slightly woolly tone like I've got. It's nice to have that little extra bit of attack on there. But again, I watch out for too much on the low E string. And that's one of the things I had to fix. How much too much? You're hearing all that. Oh, I'm in G major, sorry. That pick attack, and it's going to be different. That's one of the reasons we talked about the idea of practicing this. Practicing that on different strings, because the tension of the string is going to feel a little bit different, regardless of whether you're fretting the notes or not. And again, you're going to notice what I'm increasingly trying to do is not look at the neck. Now, that said, there are lots of times that I do like to look at the neck, but the whole point of developing the skill of not being dependent on looking at the neck. So in terms of building more confidence, one of the things that I think is debilitating towards our sense of confidence on the instrument is that when we look at the neck, we play, lick number 1A, and then look at the neck, then we go into lick 1B, and then we just kind of play the same things because we're playing the neck visually, and you learn the sound of certain phrases, and you kind of go, all right. And so you just visually, they become comfortable places to go. And then you build up muscle memory, and those two get married together. And it's like glue that you're kind of like, I keep playing the same stuff over and over. And it might be really exciting the first time, but by the 101st time or the 1,000th time, you're like, it becomes really hard to feel as inspired about playing something that you're like, well, I just kind of play the same thing, and that's one of the same things that I play. As a result, I think it impacts your confidence, and I think these are the things that we got to watch out for. All right, Uh, and oranges. There you go. I'm easily subliminally manipulated. Thanks for that, Brett. Always a pleasure. Sounds like Zach. Oh, warm the heart there. So we can take a quick Zach left turn here real quick. The thing about so the great thing about Zach is first of all, a classic. Although he plays wild guitars now, he's a Gibson guy, right? So one of the big parts of Zach's playing is these sequences, and this is the neat thing about being a pentatonic player. Well, I looked. Different types of, and being able to take these pentatonic boxes so we got kind of ups and downs, and so that's up, down, up, down, up, 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 down. So that's a 4-part sequence. Now you could think of this, and this actually is a really important part. If you're new to playing with sequences, it's kind of like there's a certain amount of like, oh, how do I get up on rails with this? Basically, if you took a look at the G minor pentatonic scale, and I don't think I've got a pentatonic diagram handy. Checking. In the future, I will make sure I've got all these kind of diagrams, things. I've got a bunch of things for various modes, but I'm not seeing the pentatonic. I got everything but that. I got G major, I got G Dorian. Come on, how do I not have G minor pentatonic? That is El Succo. All right, the idea is basically, and you can take any of these guys and basically take a pair of strings and create a box. And the idea is those boxes you can play, you can think of it as that's basically a 4-note sequence, but what you can do is what I call nest sequences. That is, say, so that is, say, I played it up, down, up, down, up, 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 down. So that's kind of basically a 4-part sequence that it has these nested sequences. Up, down, up, down, up, 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 down. And think about those. So that's just the up, up. And those guys, especially when there's a lot of that's that same sequence there. So the idea, you can cut and paste these sequences, and if you got one that you really like, and you just like we talked about before, the metronome. Let me just take a quick moment down Tuner Road here. Come on. But so the idea is I'm going to break it down really slowly for anybody that's like, hey, it would be really nice if you played it at a tempo that's a little bit faster to digest, so I will do specifically that. We're going to start off on the 3rd and 2nd strings. Sorry, the 4th and 3rd strings. And because it's a shape, that's just going to be the 1st and 3rd fingers. And there's not going to be that much going on. So that is, say, we're at the 3rd and 5th frets on the 4th and 3rd strings. And we're just basically going up and down. That way you're kind of getting both directions. 4 up, 4 down. And that wasn't slow, so this is slow. can also do a subdivision version of that. I think I went from 8th notes to 16th notes to 32nd notes there. But the point being is it's the same sequence. I'm playing it faster. That is to say 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... And that was 32nd notes that I don't know what the is for that. But the idea is that rather than just going straight up and down, on the third sequence, third sequence, and back to. So all they get asked, first sequence, second, third, fourth. So those are nested sequences. So the idea is they're sitting inside this range of 4 notes there, but we're nesting these different sequences and have that little change up. Kind of makes it sound interesting rather than, which is fine, but it's not as interesting to my ear. And of course, as always, that's just basically taking that octave shape of where we started. And hitting the root there, that's the F at the 18th fret on the second string, and that's whole step in with the third finger. Oh, come on. That's what happens when you stop concentrating. All right, so the idea is that allows you to take that. You're in pattern number 1, pattern number 2, pattern number 3, number 4, number 5. But one of the things that begins to happen when you practice, that, you begin to recognize where you are inside those sequences. You can begin to feel them a lot more by touch rather than having to look to see where they are. You're able to play them by touch, and rather than dropping those in right away, you can just go straight up and down and just like. That's just pattern number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 1. What's neat about that sort of playing is that a lot of players have a problem. Again, I taught at the Petrucci camp and the Corey Wong camp back to back, and a lot of players said, I really have a hard time connecting things up and down the neck, so being able to connect the different patterns of the pentatonic or the modes up and down the neck is a thing. So there you go. Let me jump back into the chat here real quick. Play like George. That's about as lynchy as I get, but what a great player. One of my favorite guitar players of all time. Riley, I want Led Zeppelin. The new Marshall Super Lead, blah, 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 blah. I haven't tried one yet, but my buddy Brian Wall from Signal Theory and Worship Tutorials has one. He just loved it. The Marshall JVM is also a great amp, but I discovered that when you get it really, really loud, the power amp section just kind of gives up the ghost and just gets more distorted, I should say more overdriven, and lacks clarity when you really, really need it really loud. So that new Marshall Super Lead, I'm going to see if maybe I can get them to loan me one. So to be continued. With great pleasure. And yes, Sonia, thank you very much. Self-driving car, I love that. Well, self-streaming actually. Right, doesn't that neck ring up? Just a great guitar. Okay, quick aside. So one of the other things that is way on the back burner, but not completely off the back burner, is a course that I'm going to do called 15-Minute Fundamentals. And the goal of the course is to, in 15 minutes, and I'm famous for making things more complicated than they need to be. So I initially went, well, look, if people practice the same thing, for 15 minutes every day, they're going to kind of get bored with it. And I kind of went, no, that's the whole point, moron. So it's literally, and the idea is intended to be just done 5 days a week. You just spend 15 minutes running through your 5 patterns of pentatonic, second finger root modes, 3-note per string modes, triad chord relay. I'm going through the list. I probably should stop. But the idea is this, if you will, guided practice, get you running through these things. But the other thing is as they are presented, they'll be presented with a theory behind them. So you're not just mindlessly running scales. It's actually going, hey, the major scale has, in the key of G, 7 notes. Well, in all keys, it's got 7, but for the key of G, it's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And if you take a look, that's 2 frets, 2 frets, 1 fret, 2 frets, 2 frets, 2 frets. Sorry, I digress. But you get used to going, all right, well, that is also referred to as a whole step. It's also referred to as a major second, minor second, major second, major second, major second, minor second. So what we're doing is we can think of this G major scale initially in 3 ways. We can think of about it, the intervals, the sounds, our ears invited to the party, major second, minor second, major second, major second, minor second, major second, major second, major second, major second, minor second, major second, major second. So we're instantly from the very beginning kind of going, how is our ear hearing it? Because that's a great place to start. Again. So we begin to think about, if you will, if I think about this as a major second and another major second, I can think of that as a major third. And that's kind of what I loosely refer to as a compound interval. If I add that together, I end up with that. All right. Another way I think about compound intervals is if I think about this chord bass, I've got that major third and that minor third that collectively give me, and then that perfect fifth there as well. So we're hearing the relationship between those notes. In any case, the idea is then beginning, okay, well, that's also the 1, hold the 2, hold the 3 after 4, hold the 5, hold the 6, hold the 7 after 1. And that's also G, hold the A, hold the B after C, hold the D, hold the E, hold the F sharp after G. And now all of a sudden, and I don't know, 2 minutes of teaching you actually, when you start playing this, in the back of your mind, you're going to be thinking all those things, hopefully, because I explained it in a concise way, so that you're going, okay, I'm taking that, and I can hear that major second, that major second, that minor second. All of a sudden, all right, that's 1, hold a 2, hold a 3 after 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7 after 1, and G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G. And all those things are happening in the background as you're sitting there. And so in that sense, it's not theory made easy. It's just that in the act of you running through those things, the background and the explanation of them will do that. So I'm really glad you said that. I'm going to copy that comment and I'm going to bring it into my notes. Thank you for that. That'll go there for right now. All right. All right. So what is string skipping while playing? I just don't understand. All right. So first of all, it's a great question. You know, the part of my mission is that, and I'm really glad that you have the humility to ask rather than like, oh, I'll just hope somebody else asks about string skipping. The thing about oh, that's right. Oh, I'm going to be in C. All right, so I'm going to be in the key of C major, which is basically C, hold the D, hold the E, half to F, hold the G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C. And I'm going to be basically still on that same key, going G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And basically I'm going to be taking, and by the way, anybody else who wants to jump in on this, have at it. Matter of fact, I'm going to run through a couple of different ideas with this. So basically, these are they're 7 arpeggios without the 3. And so I'm basically, that's going to be the C, that's going to be the G and a B. Whichever thing about the key of C, that's going to be, I'm going B, C, G, B. Sorry, yeah, B, C, G, B, B, G, C, B, which is 7, 1, 5, 7, 7, 5, 1, 7. And the thing about that, get into a little bit of trouble with the pickup selector here. Besides the occasional open G string there, what I'm doing here is, and this is kind of what we talked about before, is noodle practice. We'll kind of come up with something. So initially the idea was just up and down, going B there at the 4th fret on the 3rd string, C there at the 5th fret on the 3rd string, G there at the 3rd fret on the high E string, and B there on the same string. So basically we're going, in terms of frets, 4, 5 on the 3rd string, 3, 7 on the 1st string, and you might just initially just go straight up 4, 5, 3, 7, 4, 5, 3, 7, and if it helps, hit each string 4 times. Twice more. Now twice. Now once. And it does a lot to kind of make it so that first time you're not like, oh. And the idea is then what you can do is work with it. And that again is Doug's favorite nested sequence. So we're taking that same idea. We're taking that now and playing it diatonically. So that basically I've got, note-wise, I'm basically going B, C, G, and B. Then I'm going to go C, D, A, and C. Sorry. Then I'm going to go D, E, and B, D. Then I'm going to go E, F, and C, E. Then I'm going to go F, G, and D, F. I should also say that if you look at the lowest and the highest notes will always be the same note. So we're starting off at B, even though we're playing that C major 7 sus. So the deal is basically it's a 7-1-5-7, and that's at the 1. That's going to be a flat 7-1-5 flat 7 at the 2. Then at the 3, another flat 7-1-5 flat 7. At the 4, we're going to have a 7-1-5 natural 7. Oh, I should say 7-1-5-7. At the 5, we're going to have a flat 7-1-5 flat 7. At the 6, another 7-1-5 flat 7 because we're not including 3, so that's going to be the same. At the 5 and the 6, now we get up to the 7, it's going to be a 7-1 flat 5 flat 7. And if you really want to be come on. You can go up both directions. You can also do it with hammer-ons and pull-ups. So on and so forth. No, sorry. Trying to basically place that sequence across the whole thing there. You can also it's basically doing the equivalent. That's basically 3 up, and then we're starting off the. In old minor pentatonic school, we would have said up 2, back 1, and then up 2. So basically, what it's doing is it's ascending in groups of 3 notes, starting off 1 note, then starting off the next note. But again, in the old school days, we would have said up 2, back 1, up 2, back 1. I call that ascending the minor pentatonic in groups of 3 notes. But if we take that up 2, back 1, and then up 2 from there, we end up with, that's going to be down 2, back 1, and down 2. That's where that placement, that whole step, the thing that we talked about before, that's where that half step with a minor second, and that whole step with the major second, the first and second, we did it here. That. And being able to play that without having to flip and look at the neck. So that is string scripting, and gosh darn it, it's pretty darn cool, and yes, you can do it on And if you really want to practice string skipping, we're taking the minor pentatonic there. And we're doing it in groups of fours. And if you really want to be sick, that's basically going. Something going. Oh, that's fun. So basically, I'm taking the sequence of this up two back one business, doing it across strings. That's pretty cool. And then if you're daring, oh boy. I'm not used to leading with my second finger as opposed to my first finger. That's considerably harder. But that's taking that same idea now, but taking to pattern number two. The other thing is where here we had the extension between the first finger and the pinky. Here we've got a shorter extension. But that's the sort of stuff, again, what we call, practice noodling or noodle practice or something. I don't know. I haven't come up with the final version of the order. But the neat thing about that is you end up discovering stuff that you kind of go, okay, well, something about that is kind of cool, and I can find a use for it. If no other thing than... That's basically string skipping with the minor pentatonic going 6th, 4th, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 1st. 1st, 3rd, 2nd, 4th, 3rd, 5th, 4th, 6th. And basically, that sequence was a different one. And basically, I'm playing 16 notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So it's basically two sixes and a 2. And I'm basically going up, and I'm not repeating the top note. And I'm technically not repeating the bottom note either. That is to say, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also play that as a 6 feel. That's so as opposed to going with an 8th note or a 16th note feel, which was I say 2, 3, 4. You can go 2, 3, 4. Then I started from this note. Oh. That's fun. So, string skipping. Yeah. Dang, I got some stuff to work on. Thanks for that, Riley. Okay, so great question. So the minor pentatonic. So that's hanging out. Sorry, that was not in the minor pentatonic. That's the natural tune. Suppose the flat three. Minor pentatonic also. The modes. That was the G major 3-note string scale played in pairs of strings. Dorian. Phrygian. And what's neat about that, again, rather than just going straight up the scale, by playing sequences of pairs of strings, we're now ready to in turn nest sequences. So we've got our so in the same way we had so I took the same idea, up, down, up, down, up, 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 down. Let's say up, down, up, down, up, 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 down. You can begin to cut and paste that. On different pairs of strings or across. Now, the interesting thing about the way this is going to end, it's going to end on a down. Last week, fingers. Or the week before, we talked about this exercise. Basically, at the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th frets, we're going to place the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers. We're going to do finger rolls. And hopefully, I'm not going to push that pinky note. A good way to work on that. So we're going to isolate that. But basically, on the 6th and 5th strings, and then the 5th and 6th, 6th and 5th, 5th and 6th, 6th and 5th, 5th and 6th, 6th and 5th, 5th and 6th. Now, because of the way it ends, it's going to end on 5th, 6th, and the next one starts 5th, 4th. And that little bit is the equivalent of that little ending of and starting there. Oh, that's going to have you doing that with the pinky there as well. I got it. So it's one of the things that I'm getting more brave about doing, and I'm actually actively practicing. That is, we finished with the 1st finger on the 6th string. We got to get over to the 1st finger on the 5th string after we go up, down, up, down, up, 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 down. Is how that ends and how that one starts. So you got to get from an ending with the 1st finger to a starting with the 1st finger. And that's where that's the other thing we talked about, this tactile sense of feeling that I'm not going to do this versus feeling how much tension I need to have and how much roll I need to have to come on top of the string as opposed to pushing it from the side. that's kind of pushing it from the side versus having enough fingertip left over that when I do that finger roll, I'm not doing, as I'm going to fret this, pushing it off the edge of the neck. And that is something you can very much feel in your fingertip there. Great stuff, my man. What's going on, Michael? If I didn't say hello before, just lay the phone on the console. Just putting the transition on it. Transmission, rather. All right, hang on a second. Yeah, I definitely feel that way about getting stuck and not inspired. So, note to self, we all do. So, getting back to Mike Rand's comment is having kind of a selection of stuff, and you'll get bored because you start playing the same stuff over and over, of things that you jam along with just to kind of get your juices flowing, is an integral part of my daily diet. Again, I'm going to start with Lokrin. Thank you, I actually played it right. Using the triad chord relay pitch axis, playing each one of those at G, it just does a great thing in terms of getting the hands up and running and thinking about playing things in different, in this case, they're all being played at G, but I'm thinking about playing, in that case, that would be... oh, come on. Lokrin. Now, an interesting thing that I just noticed is there's a certain amount, if you look at the neck, for example, going from pattern number 5 to pattern number 2 of the G minor pentatonic. It's one of the things that we have a tendency as players to do a lot, and we move into another key like B flat. We have a tendency to take that same sort of a thing and just cut and paste it in lots of different places. You develop that tactile sense around playing in modes that have a natural 5. But the Lokrin mode has a flat 5, and gosh darn it, my muscle memory, without looking at the neck, has the same quality touch-wise and feel-wise that you develop visually. So it's interesting. I've never really kind of... Where that gets you into trouble is finding that flat 5. There I play the 5 instead of flat 5. I'm so used to keys that go, I suppose. There's a flat 5, natural 5. Let's say Lokrin is Lokrin, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. Doug's lost. I'm found. Now, here's the other thing is that there are things that I call modal string pairs. Simply meaning you take the bottom 6 notes of major, Dorian. By the way, default, you recognize that sequence? Phrygian. Lydian. Mixed Lydian. Minor. Lokrin. Now, with the exception of major and mixed Lydian, all the other shapes are unique. So when if you can recognize the sound of and you'll be able to. So So if I'm going to be playing in G, look, that's the shape that I misidentified, and I didn't realize it was the 6 shape. Means that's the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there I'm able to take this little octave bit where I'm basically taking that G, and that G. I'm playing the 7 shape. That sequence is up, down, up. And that's that on the way back down, down, up, down. So in slow terms, I'm just basically, come here, you little pick. Fine, I'll take the other one. I'm basically taking this 1st, 2nd, and 4th fingers at the 3rd, 4th, and 6th frets on the same 2 strings. And I'm taking that exact same thing and I'm moving it up 2 strings and 2 frets. Moving it up 3 strings and 2 frets. Sorry, 2 strings and 3 frets rather. There's G, there's the other G. G, G, and G. G, G, and G. And then on the way back down is the opposite of that. And that's kind of fun. All right. All right. I normally have an 11 o'clock lesson, but my normal 11 o'clock lesson is at the Tommy Emmanuel camp. But I'm going to get out of here in a second because I've got some stuff I need to do. Brooks Lundy. Well, the good news is that I actually am playing through my Badlander. Darn it. I love that amp. All right. Let's go. Learning some Zach techniques. All right. I guess thicker strings would be better because I tried playing faster like you and get to a point where the strings kind of feel loose for the pick instead of plucking this, feel like the string moves with the pick. Okay. So, thank you. So, this is one of the interesting things Meow noted as well as the tune. Hey, Paul, what's going on? Always a pleasure. Very kind. Thank you. So the thing about this, it's this fine line between the string being loose enough that one, on your bends, you're not tearing your calluses off. Because if the tension's too high, when you go to do the bends, you can really feel it in your calluses. The other part of it is, though, as you, whether it's pentatonic or with modal hammer-ons and pull-offs, if the string tension is too tight, that is on a Les Paul, this guy's too far down, it's just too much tension for the left hand to kind of negotiate, and it's just a little bit too hard to play. And if you notice, for example, my guess is Joe Bonamassa plays with at least 10s, maybe 11s. But per a question that my buddy Chris Alexander asked, you'll see that Joe winds all of his Les Pauls so the string goes around the top of the stop bar tailpiece and actually strings through from this side. And it basically makes it so the tension is less than you can get with the string strung through from this side. It means you can play with a heavier string, but with less string tension. So you get a little bit more give on that. In turn, the third place, as you pointed out, is that tension of the string feeling like it's just giving up the ghost, where you're just like, man, I go through the string, and part of that is having action that's too low, because that will also begin to impact that. So if the action all those other things are set right, but if the action's too low, one of the things that happens is that, yes, we're moving the string this way, but the string does have a kind of a tendency to kind of move to a certain extent. It doesn't just vibrate back and forth. It seems to vibrate in enough of a circular fashion, I think, that if the action's too low, even if we're picking from left to right, if you will, across the neck, or I should say, from low to high or high to low, that string still seems to have a certain amount to bounce into the neck once it starts vibrating. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm guessing that there is a circular amount of vibration. It doesn't just vibrate up or down or from side to side. But that said, you can feel it start to kind of bump into the neck, and you're like, oh, it's just like there's not enough tension there. So if the action's too low, you'll also feel that as well. And I think that where that happens, as you kind of dig into the note, you can kind of feel it as you begin to release it. There's just it's the sound of the string. It sounds a little rubber bandy. So great point. Oh, there we go. So start off just a single little dip. And it's a subdivision. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or eighth note. And it's just giving those little dips. So that should help. Again, bending it, giving you a single, then doubles, threes. Practicing like that. That'll help. Great question. Got a quick gap between Les and Scott. Sorry I missed you on the inbound. Just flat the 5 and lose the pick. Laugh out loud. Give me just a moment. There we go. Good. Little housekeeping there. All right, Eric, have to run. Eric, I hope that was a help. Always a pleasure. Okay, all right. I think I got string skipping exercise down in my head. Now to do it with the metronome and start build the chops. Love that. Awesome hand you, my friend. Tony, what a great powerhouse today's show was. Oh, thank you so much, my friend. All right. With great pleasure. Love you like a brother from another mother. What did Steve Vai say? Something like Locrian is a mode from the bad neighborhood. The other thing that Steve said, and I quoted this last week, when he was in 1985, when I was a GIT, he came and gave a clean. He said, I don't practice for my best days, I practice for my worst days. And that's always stayed with me because it was such an eloquent thing. And I think he said it totally off the cuff because I've seen him say enough things over the years, and he never said that again. I think he just kind of said it off the cuff, but I was like, oh, it just made so much sense. So, all right. Mike, great to see you. Spencer, Tony, Riley, everybody. Griffin, thanks so much for hanging out. What a pleasure. I really enjoy these because I kind of love the idea of I'm just trying to freeform in the lesson vein, and it's a unique challenge. And I guess if I want to offer a word of encouragement, you'll see me make some mistakes, and I'm actually kind of enjoy that part of it because I'm like, you know what? It allows knowing that mistakes happen and just kind of going, hey, this is what the practice bit is about. It makes it, I think, a little bit, all of us kind of go, okay, great. We all have these things that we're kind of like, oh, I don't have that yet. But the idea is like, hey, I want to be your encourager and just go, just keep practicing it, and it becomes muscle memory. All right, hang on a second. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, my friend. I look forward to it. And this is forced, is that correct? And I don't know what CRM 114 is, but I love the slightly Grateful Dead imagery. So, All right, Albert, thank you so much, my friend. Always, always, always a pleasure. I'm glad that you're enjoying your Les Paul. I'm enjoying mine. All right, thank you so much. What a pleasure, and this is so cool. So have a great weekend. Awesome, awesome, awesome. My action was too low, and indeed felt rubber bandy. And thanks for the vibrato technique. I can do it now. Yes, love that. This is one of my favorite things to do, in case you hadn't noticed. So, all right, you guys, have a great one. Yep, there we go. Thanks, Forrest. And I do look forward from Dr. Strangelove. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, much love to all, strange and otherwise. Have a great week. I'll see you next Saturday. Thanks again. Bye for now.